Nothing says holidays like a big brown log on the dinner table. I'm talking about a Yule log, of course, or rather, a chocolate sponge cake. I can feel the waist of my pants tightening just looking at it.
I unbuttoned my jeans like 5 minutes ago.
Even though the Yule log is a common, long-standing Christmas tradition, have you ever stopped to wonder where it came from? Well, we have. Why does this delicious dessert replicate, of all things, a hunk of wood? And what does it have to do with pagan rituals, Norse mythology, and the Roman Catholic Church? Be sure to watch until the end to find out. You'll want to log all these fun facts so you can share them at your holiday party. Sorry, I can't help myself. It's an illness. Depending on the baker's artistry, some Yule logs get decorated to look like a freshly chopped tree branch. But I can assure you that it tastes even better than it looks. The cake is a rich buttercream filling rolled inside a moist chocolate sponge cake. It's then enrobed in a silky chocolate ganache and sometimes dusted with powdered sugar to resemble snow. Ah, sounds delicious, right? Well, despite its tasty reputation, its origins have nothing to do with food. Its story is rooted, get it, in an ancient Norse pagan celebration that welcomes the end of winter and the coming of spring. This celebratory feast was called Yule, and it took place in Scandinavia.
Oh, it's a beautiful place.
Yule comes from the Old English word Yule, from the Old Norse word Yol. Yule also meant jolly, which often describes the Christmas season. Occurring around December 21st, when the day is shortest, it represented hope for longer, warmer days and a bountiful harvest to come. During these celebrations, Norse Pagans surrounded themselves with light to ward off the dark, harsh days of winter. First, fathers and sons would chop down a strong oak tree. This was their Yule log. They'd bring it home and sometimes carve protective runes into its trunk. They'd also douse it with wine and salt to appease Thor, the god of thunder. Sorry, we do that for Chris in my house. In Norse mythology, Thor defends Sol, the sun goddess, from everlasting darkness. Then the rune-carved, wine-soaked tree got put into the hearth. As the Yule log burned, the Norse would feast, drink, and sing. Families decorated their homes with candles and evergreens, and sometimes they decorated the Yule log with pine cones, holly, and ivy before burning it. And during the celebrations, people often exchanged gifts. This is starting to sound familiar. The Yule festivities lasted until the tree burned out, which typically took 12 days. When the party was over, the families carefully collected the ashes and placed them beneath their beds for protection against fire and lightning. They also used the ashes as medicine and to fertilize their soil. By the 1st century CE, a new religion, Christianity, had gained followers in the Roman Empire. Attempting to replace the multiple pagan gods with its single god, the Roman Catholic Church hatched a plan.
So, what's the plan?
In 4 CE, the Pope hoped to attract more people to Christianity. He proclaimed December 25th as Jesus' birthday. How's that for marketing? As Christianity spread throughout Europe, so did the tradition of burning a Yule log, which was oak in England, birch trees in Scotland, and spruce in Norway. And like the original Norse pagan tradition, the French would douse a cherry log in wine before tossing it into the hearth. In other words, the Yule log was a hit. Or you could say it was on fire. And so, Christian and pagan traditions began to merge. In 10 CE, Norway's King Håkon I officially rescheduled the Yule festival to coincide with Christmas. So you're probably still wondering how this tree-burning tradition turned into a chocolate cake. While the burning of Yule logs went on for centuries, home hearths became smaller and smaller. Imagine dragging a massive tree that would burn for 12 days into a studio apartment. Burning such a huge tree in your fireplace was not possible. So to keep the tradition alive, people used branches and wood chunks. And while it's hard to pinpoint the exact year when the Yule cake emerged, a recipe for the Yule log cake as we know it was penned by French pastry chef Pierre Lacombe. He published it in a cookbook in 1895 and called it the Bûche de Noël, or Christmas log. Today, one look on a search engine will bring up thousands of variations on this classic recipe. Some people go all out and add marzipan mushrooms and pistachio moss. I like it. But no matter how much the Yule log has evolved, nothing will change its pagan roots.
Yeah, I agree.
So you like sweets too, huh? Well then, maybe you'd like to find out why this ice cream sundae cost $25,000. Find that answer and much more on another episode of Origins of Food.